The moments that felt too real to be acting. When something real slips through the script, there is a clear difference between something that is convincing and something that is true. Convincing moments impress you. True moments stay with you. With Freen and Becky, there were scenes that impressed. Beautifully acted, carefully framed, emotionally precise. But there were also moments that didn't feel like scenes at all. Moments that seemed to arrive unexpectedly, quietly, almost accidentally. They weren't written in the script. They weren't emphasized by the camera. They didn't ask to be noticed. Yet somehow, those were the moments people remembered most. Because they didn't feel performed. They felt lived. Before the story even began. Long before audiences fell in love with their characters, something subtle had already taken shape. Not intimacy, not romance, but familiarity. The kind that develops when two people observe each other closely without trying to. In early behind-the-scenes clips, there was no visible effort to create chemistry. No exaggerated friendliness. No deliberate closeness. What stood out instead was ease. The absence of tension. They stood comfortably near each other. They listened when the other spoke. They reacted without calculation. That kind of comfort usually appears after time. Here it appeared early. And that was the first quiet clue. The way they looked at each other when nothing was required. Acting teaches you where to look. But there were moments when neither of them was required to look anywhere. And yet, their eyes found each other anyway. Not prolonged stares. Not dramatic glances. Just quick checks. Are you ready? Did you understand that direction? Are you okay? Those looks didn't perform emotion. They offered presence. And presence is something no script can demand. When touch had nothing to do with the scene. On camera, touch has purpose. Off camera, touch has meaning. A hand lightly guiding someone through a crowded space. A sleeve adjusted without comment. A brief, grounding contact before stepping into a demanding moment. These gestures weren't exaggerated. They weren't repeated for effect. They appeared once and then moved on. Which is exactly how real care behaves. It doesn't linger for applause. Happens, then disappears. The silence that never felt awkward. Silence is difficult. For actors, silence can feel dangerous. Too empty, too exposed. Many fill it with movement or dialogue. Freen and Becky didn't rush silence. They allowed it. In interviews, during rehearsals, even on stage, there were pauses where neither rushed to speak. Neither filled the space. That kind of silence only works when both people trust each other not to abandon the moment. And that trust showed. Laughter that arrived without timing. Some laughter is timed. Some laughter is shared. But there were moments when laughter broke through before anyone was ready. A quiet giggle, a sudden smile, a shared amusement that didn't wait for its cue. It didn't face the audience. It wasn't presented. Slipped out. And that kind of laughter belongs to people who are already comfortable being seen by each other. The way they waited. Waiting says more than action ever could. Waiting for the other to finish speaking. Waiting before stepping forward. Waiting to see if the other needed support. Neither rushed ahead. Neither pulled the other along. Their pace adjusted naturally, without discussion. That kind of synchronization isn't taught. It's felt. When cut. Didn't immediately change everything. When a scene ends, actors usually reset quickly. The emotional switch flips. But there were moments when the shift was slow. Expressions softened gradually. Posture relaxed over seconds, not instantly. Eye contact lingered before breaking. It wasn't indulgent. It wasn't dramatic. It was human. As if the emotion didn't belong only to the character, but hadn't fully left yet. How they grounded each other under pressure. Long days. Bright lights. Crowds. Stress shows itself subtly. In posture, in breath, in small habits. In those moments, something consistent appeared. Proximity. Not clinging. Not dependence. Just nearness. Standing slightly closer. Turning inward during noise. Lowering energy together. People who feel safe together regulate each other without trying. And that safety was visible. reactions that came before thought. Acting often requires anticipation. But instinct doesn't wait. There were moments where reaction arrived first. Protective shift when space felt too crowded. A smile that appeared before awareness. A reassuring presence offered without request. Instinct reveals priority. And instinct cannot be rehearsed. Care that didn't need acknowledgement. The most telling moments were the ones that weren't acknowledged at all. A bottle of water placed quietly nearby. A reminder whispered and then forgotten. A jacket adjusted without eye contact. These weren't exchanges. They were offerings. And offerings don't ask to be repaid. When they stopped performing for the camera. There were moments when the camera was present, but irrelevant. Where attention stayed inward rather than outward. Where expression softened rather than sharpened. They didn't sell the moment. They lived through it. And audiences felt that difference immediately. Consistency across time. One moment can be accidental. But the same behavior, repeated across months and settings, tells a different story. The same attentiveness. The same quiet care. The same ease. Consistency requires truth. And truth is difficult to fake for long. The line that never needed to be crossed. Nothing about their dynamic felt inappropriate. Nothing blurred professionalism. Instead, it demonstrated something rarer: respect. Respect that allowed closeness without confusion. Care without claim. Connection without performance. That balance is delicate. And they held it steadily. Why people felt it without seeing it? Many fans struggled to explain what they sensed. There's just something there. It feels different. It doesn't look forced. These reactions weren't about specific scenes. They were about atmosphere. Atmosphere comes from truth. The moments that lingered longest. It wasn't the dramatic scenes that stayed with people. It was the pause before speaking. The glance before moving. The hand that hovered ready. Small things. Quiet things. The things real life is made of. Epilogue. When reality leaks through art. Acting creates illusion. But sometimes reality seeps through. Not loudly, not intentionally, but persistently. With Freen and Becky, it didn't announce itself. It didn't demand interpretation. It simply existed. In moments too gentle to be acting, too consistent to be coincidence. And that's why people noticed. Because truth doesn't need emphasis. Just stays.